Sagittarius, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your February shift reading. So we are looking at the shape you are shifting out of in February, the shape you're shifting into, and what that shift looks and feels like. So before we get into cards here with the Slow Holler deck, the meditation that came through for you, Sag, cracks me right up because I'm like, what Sagittarius folks am I picking up on? I feel like I always get a meditation or like pretty consistently get images of time for you all. Specifically, so I felt something round in my hand. Like it felt flat at first, but like definitely circular, and it was in my hand. I was holding it and I was like, is this like the face of a clock? And I was like, it feels like I'm holding time. I'm like, Sagittarius, what Saturnian Sages? I mean, maybe I'm just like really talking to the Saturn and Sag generation. Hi, Saturn and Sag. But I'm like, okay, there was this circle, and then I was like, okay, let me explore this. And I put my other hand into the circle and it actually like dipped in. And I was like, wait, is this a vessel? Is this a cup? Which would make sense in some sense because Saturn, the god of time, okay, is about like boundaries and creating containers, creating some sort of structure for time, like the way that we have created a structure for time through our calendar or through watching astrology and the movements of the planets, like the way we quantify time in often linear ways in order for our brains to wrap themselves around it. That's a container for time. I know you're with me, Sag, but for those of you who aren't, just like stay with me. But then it turned into a cartoon. And what I realized that I actually had in my hand was a black hole. It was, or more specifically, it was a rip in space-time, a rip in the space-time continuum, because I felt that when I put, it was like this like black hole, and I mean that quite literally, not necessarily cosmically, not necessarily not cosmically, but what I mean by that is like, you know, those old like an old Bugs Bunny cartoon where, you know, Bugs always runs and jumps down the rabbit hole to escape from Elmer Fudd or whatever. And I got the image of Bugs Bunny like grabbing I think this is an actual cartoon that exists, like grabbing the hole, picking the hole up off the ground and taking it with him. And then like putting it down wherever he went and being able to jump into it and then like hop out, peel the hole up, take it with him. It was like that. It was like you have this like rip in space time that you've discovered that you can just like, it was almost like I saw myself putting my hand into it and my hand like disappearing and then coming back up and then like disappearing and coming back up. And I was like, whoa, this is wild. Okay. So, you know, but again, it was very playful, very Sagittarian with the Bugs Bunny cartoon. Like it felt really playful. It felt like you've discovered something here that you're like, ha 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 ha, like I can do this. I can rip through space-time. I can create a malleable container for time that I get to use at my disposal. And like, I can like, it's like a superpower, you know, I can disappear whenever I need to, or I can like hide things in there, or I can pull it out. Yeah. I like it. It's cool. Let's see how the cards tie in to this meditation. So first, looking at the shape that Sagittarius is shifting out of here in February. What is the shape that Sag is shifting out of in February? The shape Sag is shifting out of in February. Whoa, that just landed smack on me, and look what it is. Saturn, people. Who am I connecting with? You powerful, magical time lords. What the hell? Okay. The world ruled by Saturn, your favorite friend. All right. We have the world here. There's the circle. It's as if I'm holding it in my hand right here. It's like, if you dip into this, there's a whole world in there. The world is about things coming to a completion. It is ruled by Saturn, so it talks about the ending of a cycle, like the end of a really big cycle that your soul has been going through, now coming to an end so that you can start something completely new. The closing of a chapter and the beginning of an entirely new one. Really the closing of a book. And the beginning of an entirely new book in your life. That's what you're shifting out of, Sag. I'm wondering if all this like Saturn and Pluto conjunction energy that we had in January was such a huge thing for you and really did close this like massive cycle, and now you're in this like baby steps of starting something new, and it's like you realize that because you've mastered whatever it is that Saturn was really working on you to move through over the last however long you've been moving through this thing that has come to an end. Now you can like use it as a tool. You can like disappear into it and like manipulate, for lack of a better word. It's like you have a power that you didn't have before, and it has to do with time and the way you hold time. I also want to say that in your pre-shuffle of this deck, I saw this card expand time. And I was like, oh my God, see? Expand time. It's like you open the grandfather clock and there's this like whole other world in there. If you can see that. Interesting. I'm gonna stick it back in the deck, but I'm just like, noted. Okay. So what is the shape that Sag is shifting into? If you're shifting out of the world energy, out of this sense of completion of something, what is Sagittarius shifting into in February? Aha, 4 of Pentacles. It's interesting. I'm getting with this that you've been kind of like I'm getting something really specific, Sag. You've been loosened in some way from constraints that you were under in a previous cycle. And now you have this opportunity to build a new structure. And it's like, there's fear here. There's a lot of fear here because, how am I saying it? Essentially, whatever the ending of this cycle is, it seems to have stripped your structure down to its bare bones, like its basic 4 building blocks. The number 4 is all about structure. We are in 2020, 2 plus 2 is 4. That's a 4 year. Okay, we're looking at structure this year in 2020, and it seems that whatever cycle has ended for you, you now find yourself left with only the bare, like original 4 stones that make up the fabric of your being, or the fabric of what you know to be true about reality. And I'm feeling this need that you may be feeling, for whoever I'm picking up on here, to hold on to that, because you're like, this is all I have, you know, to kind of like hold on to what you know. Because I'm seeing with these ropes something that I don't normally see in this card, which is that like they're actually quite fluid and quite malleable, and they're loose. None of the knots are pulled very tightly. You have this opportunity, I think, Sag, to now like tie the knots that you want to tie, you know, to create the constraints, Saturn, that you want to create. It's like you have the key to these locks or to these knots, because you are the one that gets to tie them now. And I think that that can actually be kind of a scary position to be in. It can be a bit overwhelming, a bit like, oh, let me just like cling to what I know, because holy crap, that's scary. All right, that's the vibe I'm picking up on here. Let's see if we can illuminate this a little further. What does this shape shift look and feel like for Sagittarius in February? What does this shift look like for Sag? What's the journey from the World to the Four of Stones? 1, 2, and one more, please. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Big cards. Oh my God, Sag, look at this. Oof. No big deal. Major arcanas and a queen. The Lovers, the Visionary of Knives, or the Queen of Swords, and the Death card. Yeah, talk about a transformation. The Death card is something that I love to see with the Saturn card here, because to me the Death card is ruled by Pluto, and here we have the Saturn card, and we just had that Saturn-Pluto conjunction in January that is going to be working on us on and off all year. You know, we're like starting to dissipate from that energy, but it's still very much in play. And so it's like here, I think we're seeing the fallout of that for you. So whatever was going on for you in like January, around, you know, really since April of 2019, but I would say like most potently in December and January. And the actual conjunction was perfected on January 12th. Okay, so whatever was going on for you around that time, we're seeing the fallout of that now, because something came to an end, something came to a completion, and it's like, here's what that looks, and you have this opportunity now to build a new structure. A very tangible new structure, because we're looking at the earth element here. This isn't like a structure in your mind or a structure, you know, for your passions, or it might be, but it's a very physical, tangible structure here. And what we're seeing is like this process of you cutting ties with things that no longer serve the potential new structure that you have available to you now. Because it's like with this particular Lovers card, there's a focus on how energies are braided together, and one of the twins here is making a cut, is wanting to separate in some way. So the Lovers card also talks about mirrors. You know, it's like all of the relationships in our lives, including intimate, like love relationships, as this card is so named for, are mirrors for us. They're mirrors for us of like our own behavior and our own ways of being that we either want to keep or do away with. And I think you're starting to realize, maybe due to the people in your life being these direct reflections for you, the things that you need to cut ties with, maybe even the people that you need to cut ties with that are no longer, that are like essentially vestiges of this old cycle. That's how I'm feeling it. Anything that's a vestige of this old cycle, the fallout of that Saturn-Pluto conjunction that we're probably going to be sitting in at least for the first 6 months of this year, I imagine, the fallout from that is really truly letting go of any vestiges that are still hanging on from this old cycle, that still think they can like emerge out of the rabbit hole of your past life or like your past cycle and be like, no, I still have a hold on you, or like, I'm still a part of your life, you know? And it's like, no, actually, the Queen of Swords comes in and is like, hell no. Get the hell out of here. I got my knife. I got my eyes on you. I can see exactly what this is. I see exactly what you're trying to do, and you cannot come, this energy cannot come into my new cycle. Chop, chop. Okay, and then that's very congruent here with the death energy, which is, you know, I imagine Pluto, Hades, the Reaper, however you want to put it, is often shown with the Sith. And that feels like, you know, essentially there's a blade implied in all three of these cards. The scissors to cut, this blade to like slice through with the truth. And now the Sith of death to put an end to it once and for all, because the death card is about permanent endings. Permanent endings in the sense of like our 3D world, right? The physical, tangible world. There's something physically, tangibly ending here for you, so that something new can grow out of that thing that is dying and decomposing. It is serving to enrich this soil for something new to grow for you, Sag, so that you can bloom in a new way, in a completely new structure. But I'm seeing, here's what I'm seeing. You're like looking at this whole, I need more hands. It's driving me crazy. You're looking at this whole process over here. If you're the crow or the raven, whatever it is, I think it's a crow. You're looking at this whole process, standing on the bare bones of whatever you have left after this structure ended or cycle ended for you. And you're looking at the old vestiges like, come back, you know, like a little bit, come back. Oh God. Now I'm just in this like black void space, and it's rich with potential and rich with creativity, but now it's up to me to tie the knots instead of like all the knots being tied for me from previous lives or like previous energies that I'm used to. And it's like this, I feel this thing of like shaking in your boots and wanting to hold on a little bit to what you know and what feels familiar. And I think Sag, you know, it's like the Queen of Swords is here to say, listen, you've been through way too much. You've been through way too much to end that past cycle. Don't let anything hang on here that doesn't need to be hanging on to you. Use that discernment, use those boundaries, use that ability to sweep in here and say, no, absolutely not. Okay. Because I think you have this opportunity to grow something that is just yours. And it might feel scary because it's so unfamiliar. Because it is, it's brand new. I think it's something your soul has maybe never experienced before. But that's where the richest growth is possible, Sag. And it's the key. Look, there's a key here and a butterfly here. It's like this tying the right knots here, creating the right constraints and the right boundaries and the right structure, the right container for time, perhaps, the container for your time and the things you invest in and how you spend your energy moving forward. That's the key to your transformation. With the butterfly and transformation with the death card. Okay. Oh yeah. All right, we're gonna get you a postcard from the liminal space here. So as I shuffle, Sag, this is the first half of your reading for February. If you would like to join me for the second half of this, sorry, did I say January? The second half of this February shift, you can join me on Patreon. Patreon is a community that I created for folks who have been following my work and resonating with my readings for some time. If that sounds like you, all right, you can click the link in the description box below. That will take you to Patreon. Please read the full description on the page so that you know how Patreon works. And that's where you'll be able to view this extended reading, okay? And I will put a little preview at the end of this video so that you can make sure that the extended is continuing to resonate for you. All right, so Sagittarius, let's get you a postcard from the liminal space. Advice for Sag here in February, please. What's the advice for Sag? Okay, you're getting a lot. And you know what? We're taking them all. You got 4 cards, no big deal. No big deal. Okay. First 2. Glitch in the matrix and invisibility mode. Exactly. This is exactly what I saw in the meditation. It's like you have discovered a rip in space-time. You've discovered a glitch in the matrix. And remember how I said it was like I could put my hand down the hole and completely disappear? Invisibility mode. What the heck, Sag? Creeping me out. These February shift readings are so on point. Okay, so it's like you possess some kind of power, Sag, to dip in and out of time and reality and space. Whoever this is resonating for, I hope you know what I'm talking about. I have an inkling, but like I feel like I can't quite express it fully. Invisibility mode. It's like this rip in space-time, this hole, this thing that you possess, it's like this out for you. It's an opportunity to escape from this past cycle, but it's like, and you hold it right here. It's like, this is the hole and you hold it, and you could choose to just go ahead and dip into it. And that's going to take you almost like into an entire parallel life where you get to like start over and do something else. Sorry if I'm freaking anybody out, but like that's kind of how it's feeling. Like take that either literally or metaphorically, however it's resonating for you, but it's almost like you get to slip through a crack, a glitch, and go invisible and like start a new life. Don't bring old stuff with you into this new life. Cannot come. Let it die. Okay, that's one thing. Glitch and invisibility mode. Unbelievable. And then look at this. Welcome to the liminal space and come back down to earth. There's this like, again, you have that, maybe you're astral traveling, like maybe you're doing some wild shit. I don't know. But it's like, I always talk about this card in particular as an opening in the fabric of your reality. You're just walking along in the woods at night, you know, full moon is out, blah, 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 magic is afoot, and then all of a sudden a door opens in the middle of the sky, right in front of your face, and you're like, what? Okay, that's the rip in space-time. That's this like black hole suddenly opening up in front of you that you could like just dive into, this rabbit hole. And then it says, come back down to earth. It sort of feels like that's the journey. It's like you discover this glitch in the matrix, that you have this power to go into invisibility mode and like disappear into this other dimension, or like to shift dimensions. We may be just talking about like a massive energetic shift that you are experiencing, dimensional shift, energetic shift, vibrational shift, however you want to say it. It's like Saturn is opening the door for you to seriously shift your vibration, and old shit cannot come with you if you say yes to that shift. And it's like, once you say yes to that shift, then it's like you can land back on earth, 4 of stones, back on earth, and you have a completely new energetic blueprint within yourself that you are working with. And so you have to build an entirely new structure once you come back down to earth. This is one big old DMT trip. Okay, Sagittarius. Perhaps I will see you over at the extended. All right, stick around, check out the preview if you're into it. Click the link in the description, take you right over there, and I'll see you there. If not, thank you so much for watching, for tuning in this February. If you're enjoying what I'm offering, picking up what I'm putting down, just go ahead and click that like button and subscribe to my channel. Those things just help me to grow here on YouTube, and I would appreciate it so much. All right, Sag, take care of yourself in this wild trip that you're going on. And I'll talk to you soon. You know, again, you start with the scissors. What a fascinating reading. And you get the sword, you like graduate to the sword of the Queen of Knives when you stand strong in your truth, the truth of who you are now, which is a butterfly. You say, maybe to this King of Wands, to this lover's person or relationship or energetic thing that's kind of clinging to you, listen, I'm not a caterpillar anymore, okay? I'm a butterfly. That's the truth. And so you can't come with me where I am going. I need to fly. You crawl, I fly. That's just, we are in different ecosystems now.